Miracles come while we in the fight. Don't give up and hold him tight. You will have a visible battle scar, but never forget who you are and fight, fight, fight.
Hello, and welcome to Embracing the Fight. I am Erica Lamar, your digital creator and host. Embracing the Fight was created to help normalize the conversation surrounding physical and mental health issues. And I've decided to share my journey through thyroid cancer to help start this conversation. So let's face it, if you have a physical or mental health issue, the reason you don't say anything is because either you think someone's going to judge you, or if someone knows that you have a mental illness, you think they'll probably discount you as crazy. Or if you have a physical illness or limitation, you'll think people won't think very much of you to do different things because they'll constantly look down on you, or they'll constantly say, this person needs help. So a lot of people keep those things to themselves. And when they do, they virtually die on the inside. So I put a poll out on Facebook to ask people, why is it that, you don't really speak up or say anything about the illnesses, that you have? And the reasons that I just gave were the main reasons, but one that I found to be very interesting was the fact that they feel like people would use it for personal gain. For instance, someone might open a GoFundMe for me and I wouldn't know anything about it because I'm suffering with a disease and they want to capitalize on it. So if you keep those type things to yourself, then no one can capitalize on your illness, right? Right. So I want to talk a little bit more today about my journey. As you recall from the last episode, I don't have another doctor's visit until February. However, I want to tell you that since my thyroid has been removed, that I have so much more energy. Usually, when I get off work, I will come home and sit down and fall asleep, wherever I was. Or if I went to play tennis and I came home, took a shower, I would fall asleep wherever I was in the house. Now, today was my first day back to work. Now, I'll be honest, there was a point where I wanted to take a nap. And that's because, I've been off for almost 3 weeks. And being off 3 weeks, you just do what your body says do, while you're healing. You sit still if your body says sit still. You take a nap if your body says take a nap. And my body didn't get the memo that I was actually back to work today. So around 10:30 or so, I started to feel, a little sleepy. But I wasn't weary. I wasn't tired. I wasn't fatigued. It was just that natural need for a nap because everyone knows that naps are essential. So I noticed that I was able to get up and walk around and I wasn't exhausted. I was able to get in and out of my truck. I was able to walk up and down stairs. There was so many things that I started to notice. I even noticed that when I took my braids out, I didn't lose as much hair either. Before, when I had had my hair braided down and I took the braids out, I was taking so many clumps of hair out that I didn't think I'd even have a ponytail when I got finished. And if you're on YouTube, of course, you can see, what my hair looks like now. And this is a great improvement from what I was dealing with previously. So on top of the fatigue, on top of the hair loss, I was gaining weight and I wasn't able to lose weight very quickly either. So from the point of surgery, which was back in December of 2022, to this day, today, January of 2023, not even a month's time has passed. I've lost somewhere between 11 and 12 pounds. And mind you, I'm not running every day. I haven't played tennis. I haven't ridden my bike or anything like that. Nothing excessive. But the thyroid hormone replacement is actually doing the job that my thyroid should have done. All right, the other thing that I've noticed is that brain fog that I talked about. Most people say when they have brain fog, it's like they forget something. Mine was more like I'd be sitting there thinking and thinking and thinking, and it was so hard to concentrate, so hard to think. Now everything's firing on all cylinders. You ask me a question, I have an answer. Or if I don't have an answer, I know who to contact, who to find, where to look for it. Everything is just going exactly like it should. My work ethic was not affected by this issue with my thyroid because I was at work every day on time. I was making sure all my tasks were done. It's just I had absolutely no energy to do anything but work. And what kind of life is that? That's no life for anyone to have. So the other thing I want you to consider is that you have to give yourself some grace in this process. Sure, I know I can't just go out there and run and jump around on the tennis court just yet because I'm still, healing internally. And I know I can't go out and run, a 5K if I wanted to because I am still healing. I have to understand and I have to listen to my body. This also lets me know that once this heals, the other ailments that I may have, then I need to pay closer attention to them to make sure they're not getting any worse. For instance, I've had knee surgery, and I know that I am not 21 years old again, and I won't be running after all those balls like I normally would, but I will still, chase a few of them down here and there. But I know that when my knee says enough's enough, then I have to stop or I have to do something where brace, take some medication, do something to make it work out for me. I'm saying that to say this. Once you find you have one issue going on in your body, it doesn't mean that you won't have any other issues. It just means that you should be on high alert. You have to pay attention to how you feel. If you have mood swings, if your body temperature changes, if you notice the palpitations in your heart to change, take note of all of these things. Make sure that this isn't something that has become consistent. If it has, you need to seek medical help. It's time out now for, oh, I'll just wait and see what happens, or, oh, it's just a little nagging pain, or, oh, that's really nothing. No, when your body starts to tell you that you have an issue, you have to listen to it. Not only do you have to listen, you have to act on it to make sure that you take care of it. For instance, what if I'd said, okay, my internal medicine doctor is correct. There's nothing wrong with my thyroid, and I just decided not to do the ultrasound, and I just ignored everything that my OBGYN told me to do. So fast forward maybe 5 years. Say I would have a large goiter here. And on top of this, that thyroid cancer may have spread to my lymph nodes, from my lymph nodes to my lungs, and to other parts of my body. And then they may have come to me and says, well, we're very sorry. There's nothing that we can do to help cure this illness. So it's very important that when your body starts to send those signals, that you take the time to find out what it is. Who cares if you have to keep going back to figure out what it is? That's what I did for more than 2 years. I kept going back because I kept saying something is not right. Something is wrong. Once you feel that something is wrong, chase it down a rabbit hole. Who cares if someone calls you a hypochondriac? This is your life. This is your health. You have to do something to advocate for yourself, because nobody's going to come to your house, knock on your door, and say, are you feeling well today? You need to see a hematologist, or you need to see a rheumatologist, or you need to see a nephrologist. Nobody's going to do that. You have to know your body, and you have to know when it's time to actually go and do something about whatever it is that you have going on in your system. You have to love you enough to want to do that. So, on the flip side of it, when we talk about the mental aspect of what I'm going through right now, I'm grateful, like I've mentioned many times, that I have an amazing support system. Now, there are other parts of my life that I am missing. For instance, let's just put it on the table. I was that child that grew up thinking I'm going to be married by the time I'm 20, I'm going to have kids, I'm going to own a company, I'm going to do all these different things. Well, fast forward 24 years from that time, I'm not married, I don't own a company, and I don't have any children. However, I do have amazing friends and families. So when I look at it, I'm grateful for what I do have. And I don't sit there and focus on the things that I don't have. I recently went on TikTok and talked about doing mental inventory. And I realized that when I went inside of my closet, that even though those things were no longer flooding my mind or terrorizing my heart in any way, there were still memories in there that I needed to discard. For instance, I have my wedding dress. I was married in October of 2014. I divorced in July of 2018. Well, that little dress could have gone to someone else. It's a beautiful gown. And someone could have gotten married and lived happily ever after. They could have saved money. They could have done all these different things. And then as I kept going through my closet, I was finding shirts and shoes and things that no longer fit. So if they no longer fit me, they can be a blessing for someone else. And that can also help clear up this space that's surrounding me. Because if you notice, if you have clutter in your life, you best believe that you have clutter in your mind. And everything needs to be decluttered. I mean, your mind needs to be decluttered and your home needs to be decluttered. You cannot bring anything new into a home or into a mind that is completely full with other things. I hear people say all the time that when they've been hurt, that those people, those things that hurt them live in their mind. And it makes so bad, they live in there rent free because they've moved on, with their lives. They may have been the villain in your story, but they're gone on. They're not thinking about you. But you also have to think of it on the flip side of it. Maybe you were the villain in someone else's story. Be that it may, you have to declutter. You have to clear. You have to remove. You have to say, I forgive. You have to say, I let it go. Because the longer that you hold on to these things, the longer time it will take for you to heal. And when you become ill, you start to think about those things that you're still holding on to in your heart. You start to think about those people that called you those names, or those women that were reaching out to you to tell you what your soon to be ex-husband was doing, or these men that are constantly in your inbox telling you what your wife did. So it's a constant battle. You can't heal physically when you're fighting mentally. For instance, think about it. Where do you think high blood pressure and stress come from? It all starts in your mind. So when you start thinking and feeling that way, it's definitely time to talk to someone. Now, I'm not saying go to your next door neighbor, Miss Ruthie, or Mr. Charles, or anybody like that. I'm saying go to a professional, speak to a therapist. Because one, you pay them to listen. Two, you pay them to hold what you say confidential. Now, when you run over there to your next door neighbor or to the person down the street, everybody could know your business within hours. Heck, within minutes if they put it on Facebook or if they put it, Instagram, TikTok. Social media has a lot to do with a lot of the mental issues and things that we're dealing with in this day and age. So I'm saying, if you're struggling with something mentally, there is absolutely nothing wrong with getting help. I did. I met with a licensed therapist. I told her about a lot of the things that I had been carrying around. And in that whole conversation, she reminded me of what an amazing person I am. Not because I paid her to tell me that. No, but that's what she deciphered from what I was saying, from the different interactions I was having with people and the way that those things turned out. So I'm asking that you save yourself, both physically and mentally, because that's what makes up you as a whole person. You have feelings, you have thoughts, you are loved, you are great, you are wonderful, you are mighty, but you must believe that. You can listen to someone talk to you all day long and tell you how great and how amazing that you are. But if you don't feel it first, that's like nothing falling straight to the ground. So today, I'm asking that you take the time. You could even set up a mirror and sit there and look at yourself and decide who and what you are. Do not let the world or society define you. You know who you are and whose you are. Also, take time to do a physical inventory of yourself. Go to the doctor. Have a physical done. Know your numbers. What's your blood pressure? What's your A1C? What are your cholesterol numbers? Both good and bad. Do you know those things? And if you don't know those things, it's very important that you do know those things. Also, I would suggest too that if your parents are still living, grandparents, the elders in your family, talk with them about your family's medical history. There are several things that I found out about my medical history when I actually had some tests done by my hematologist. One of my parents carries the factor V Leiden defect in their blood, and I inherited it genetically. So now I know that if I do have children, that my child will have at least one copy of it as well. Why is this important to know? Factor V Leiden is what causes your blood to clot more often than not. So if you have any surgeries, injuries, or if you are sedentary for long periods of time, your body just creates these clots. And it's important to know this because you need a blood thinner. If you don't get a blood thinner, or if you don't take aspirin or something daily, then you're highly likely to have a stroke, pulmonary embolism, things of that nature. So it's very important for you to know your family history, to know what could potentially be in your genetic pool. Once you know these things, it's much easier for you to be able to treat them. Also, it helps you to determine what factors you need to look for or fight against if you decide to have children. So, with all these things that I've just said, what I really want you to do is take that moment to take time for you, both for your physical and for your mental health. Because the healing starts once you agree to embrace the fight. Thank you for tuning in to this third episode of Embracing the Fight. I am Erica Lamar, your digital creator and host. Have an amazing day. For those of you on YouTube, you'll be able to see exactly what I'm illustrating. However, those listening, you will definitely understand once I describe it. If you notice the scar that I have on my neck, it is healing. The incision goes along my neckline. Directly below that incision is the hole where the drain tube was inserted. And if you notice, it is healing very well. is blending very evenly. It's a very, very nice scar. I'm told that years from now, you won't be able to see it at all. However, I am grateful that I have a scar. Without this scar, there will be no healing. Scars are the evidence of healing, whether they are invisible, meaning mental scars, or whether they're physical and you can actually see the scar. Healing had to take place in order for that scar to be present. Also, I am grateful to have this scar because this is God's way of showing me grace. He allowed me to make it through this surgery. He allowed me to be able to come on here and speak with you about my journey through thyroid cancer to help so many others see his grace and his mercy active in the world. So I'm asking that you take the time to focus less on the scar and focus more on the healing process as you continue to embrace the fight each and every day. God bless.